Every now and then, a TV show comes along that takes the internet by storm. And that show today I want to talk about goes by the name of Smiling Friends, making its series debut on Adult Swim in 2022, created by Michael Cusack and Zach Hadel. Michael Cusack you might recognize as the creator of that weird Rick and Morty series where everyone's Australian and ugly.
Oh, Rick!
Get in the car, Morty! Get in the car!
Oh, Rick, I was asleep.
You leave my brother alone!
Get out of here!
You leave him alone!
And Zach Hadel you'll probably recognize as Psychic Pebbles, making all kinds of viral cartoons and a prominent figure in the Newgrounds animation scene. Nowadays though, he's known for his silly little moments on Oni Plays.
Lyle, turn on the TV, they hit the Pentagon!
So yeah, great. Put those two minds together and see what they cook up. Smiling Friends follows two silly guys named Charlie and Pim, who work for a charity whose goal it is to make people smile. That's it. A pretty simple concept. So why is this show so beloved and trending online every time anything happens? Well, the best way to find out is to watch it for yourself, which I highly recommend doing. But for the sake of this video, we're gonna go through every episode and just see what makes Smiling Friends so beloved and unhinged. Episode 1, Desmonds Big Day Out. Now this episode actually first aired on Adult Swim all the way back in 2020. It aired during Adult Swim's April Fool's prank. It acted as the pilot episode and to my knowledge was pretty well received by everyone, but wouldn't get fully picked up until 2 years later or something. We start off with the gang hanging out. We got Charlie, Pim, Alan, and Glep. They're just guys. They get an alert from their boss, named Mr. Boss.
So I got a call from a mom today. She's concerned about her son.
Yeah, he's an interesting fella. The boys get a call from someone's mom to cheer up her son, named Desmond, who's having a rough day.
I love helping kids. I love kids, Charlie. I love kids.
Pim, I would really not be screaming that at the top of your lungs.
The gang gets shown to Desmond's room, where he's...
Oh my god! Whoa, 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 whoa! Oh my god! Whoa, whoa, whoa!
Hello.
So life isn't going so well for poor little Desmond, and is probably just gonna see himself out. Charlie thinks he's a lost cause, but Pim doesn't think so. He has this undying optimism and doesn't want to give up on someone in need. They try to show him all the beauty life has to offer, like family.
Stephen! Get in here and sit at the dinner table! Shut the f*** up, woman! I was down in the bloody mines for 14 hours today!
Alright, not the best option. Plan B is a party, showing Desmond the joy of friendship and general camaraderie.
What the f***? Why are you f***ing here, man? You're so old. Where's your wife?
Mr. Rotoscope is a dick. Meanwhile, back at Smiling Friends HQ, Alan is on his own adventure, looking for his precious missing piece of cheese.
I got you, you dang mouse.
He goes into the walls and finds a creature known as a Bibli, who stabs his hand with a paperclip and unleashes the horde of Biblis onto Alan. Meanwhile, Pim's last option to cheer up Desmond is at Dave Land, a fun amusement park full of Dave-related activities.
Who's Dave?
I don't know.
Desmond actually has fun, but realizes that it's only temporary. Sad that life is only about temporary moments of happiness to distract yourself before the depressing reality of life sneaks back in. This paralyzes Pim with depression and seemingly has lost hope himself. Luckily though, Charlie has a secret weapon.
Alright, yeah, what about that?
I mean, it's kind of cool, but it doesn't make me feel any better, though.
Yeah, no, I didn't think so.
They head back to Smiling Friends HQ where Alan is crucified by the Biblis, and they come charging towards the gang.
You had to do it, man.
And this act of self-defense makes Desmond smile, where he turns his life around and starts a Bibli extermination service, realizing all Desmond needed to be happy in life was a purpose. Aww, how sweet. The end. Episode 2, Mr. Frog. We learn about the iconic Mr. Frog show that was well-renowned and beloved. However, he's fallen on hard times as many actors tend to do, having an outburst where he ate a member of the paparazzi in one bite, canceling Mr. Frog in the process. Charlie is personally offended by this and wants to get his life back on track, being a big fan of the show. And hey, I gotta say, the Mr. Frog show looks great.
I'm Mr. Frog. This is my show. I eat the bug. This is the end. I love you.
Meanwhile, the execs are looking to replace Mr. Frog. Glep shows up for an audition and nails it, I guess. That's Glep's entire character, by the way. He's perfect. Meanwhile, Charlie and Pim go to Mr. Frog's house to try and find a way to restore his reputation. They hold a meet and greet with fans, but he chokes someone out. They try to hand out one of those big checks to a charity, and Yeah, it's kinda going horribly wrong. I think Mr. Frog might be a bit of a sociopath. Their final plan is to get Mr. Frog on Jimmy Fallon, since he'll host anyone, and have a fun little interview in the process.
Probably working with all those filthy...
I still can't believe he said that. He gets deplatformed and all seems hopeless. Meanwhile, Glep is doing the Mr. Frog reboot and people hate it. Just then though, Mr. Frog himself shows up and realizes the error of his ways, apologizing for everything he's done. The greedy network exec doesn't accept his apology though and gets eaten for his trouble, which everyone loves. The moral of the story is Mr. Frog is an evil sociopath, but God, he sure is entertaining. And that's all that matters.
Hello?
Shrimp's Odyssey. Pim and Charlie get called for another job, to help this nerdy little shrimp deal with a breakup. Pim believes in true love and wants to get the two back together, while Charlie's on that Sigma life and instead wants Shrimp to get over his ex. Pim heads to a cafe where Shrimp's ex works at.
Number 15. Could I get...
She's an incredibly beautiful woman who Pim starts to fall for. He tells her that she has a secret admirer and to meet up later tonight for a date. However, it's clear Pim starts to have feelings for her, imagining an entire life's worth of love. This is a whole new level of down bad. Meanwhile, Charlie tries to boost Shrimp's confidence, taking him to the gym to be a true alpha like him, and also try on some new clothes.
How do I look, yellow man?
You look like you're about to tell your friend not to come to school tomorrow, man.
Ultimately, nothing works, and they head to a spaghetti roller rink to drink away the pain. This is coincidentally where Pim set up the date. He wants to make a move, but after seeing how sad Shrimp is, reconnects the two.
Who is that?
I have never met this woman in my entire life.
Yeah, it turns out Pim went to the wrong address and found this random woman. Shrimp, however, still shoots his shot, despite being a shut-in gamer weirdo.
You're literally everything I've ever dreamed about.
All's well that ends well. The moral of the episode is always vote yes for S'more a silly Halloween special. This episode aired in January, by the way, so everyone's ready to celebrate Halloween, apart from Charlie, who doesn't want to get cancelled for possibly dressing up as something that won't be acceptable in a few years. The Smiling Friends all do an annual bonfire for Halloween, but they're out of firewood. Pim excitedly offers to go into the forest to get some, but Mr. Boss warns him to not go past the rickety bridge. Naturally, Pim's excitement gets the better of him, and he goes past that bridge, immediately getting lost. And not only that, hunted. The rest of the episode is honestly a really good sequence. We don't see what's actually chasing Pim, just the fear of a creature hunting down our sweet little purple friend is enough to have us root for him. And the reveal of the monster is genuinely horrifying. He's a really scary claymation creature. The clashing art style is really what sells it. He chases Pim all the way back to Smiling Friends HQ, and when the monster bursts into the room of people...
Whoa! Is that blackface, dude?
Get the f out, man!
Well, looks like Charlie was right once again. Happy Halloween, Pim. Who violently murdered Simon S. Salty? After seeing a movie, Charlie and Pim go to a fast food joint called Salty's. It's an incredibly filthy and unhealthy place, ran by Simon S. Salty himself. However, when they try to order, this talking ketchup packet says they're closed. Charlie wants to speak to Simon, however, he's taking his iconic 7 p.m. nap. But when they barge into his office anyway, though, they call the police, who redirect their call to Mr. Boss, who calls Charlie, basically putting the two of them in charge of solving the mystery. They round up all the silly mascots and interrogate them. It's honestly a good mystery to play along with at home, because they are all incredibly sketchy, but genuinely innocent. They're just weird.
A stain of what?
My own doo-doo feces, okay?
They run into a century egg in the basement, which is apparently Salty's iconic menu item. It speaks to them and says he has cameras all over the restaurant and they could review the footage.
Oh, no, not that one. No, other drawer.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Where it turns out everyone murdered Simon S. Salty. Nobody likes him, he was a terrible person. And that's about it. The mascots break out of the restaurant and wreak havoc onto the city. Salty's does look like a pretty good place though, I'd love to eat here. Enchanted Forest. The gang receive a...
That was right in my ear, dude!
The princess of the Enchanted Forest is sad, which means Pim and Charlie get to go on a magic fantasy adventure, which Pim is incredibly excited about. Charlie, though, doesn't care, just wanting to get this over with. Pim tries to convince Charlie, though, to have some fun, since he's wanted this adventure ever since he was a kid.
Perhaps one day.
Oh, I love you, Daddy.
You kissed your dad in the mouth?
The boys eventually meet up with someone named Mip, a kind-hearted and friendly adventurer, who's clearly inspired by the 1977 animated version of The Hobbit. Like, to a T! Look at Bilbo in this cartoon, why is he so ugly? They did a great job recreating that ugly 70s style animation. He also happens to be on his way to see the princess and deliver a package, so he helps guide the two to the castle. On the way, Charlie starts having an adventure with the help of Mip, finding armor, weapons, treasure, fighting evil creatures, all while Pim slowly starts to get angrier and angrier. This was supposed to be his adventure, and Mip is stealing the spotlight. Later that night, the gang set up camp and rest, while Charlie and Mip, develop something. Pim, however, has gone full Gollum, losing his sanity and stealing Mip's package to deliver to the princess himself. Him and Charlie have a bit of a struggle for it, and during the squabble, they knock Mip onto a spear, killing him in the process. This makes Pim sane again, and together they squash the beef and do their job, delivering the package to the princess. When they mention that Mip was the brave hero who died on their way to deliver this package, the princess is scared, saying that Mip is actually her stalker who won't leave her alone, and that's why she hasn't been able to smile. So, what's in the package?
Bob the whole time?
However, when they inform her that Mip is indeed dead, she's relieved. So relieved, in fact, she cracks a smile.
Cool.
Frowning friends. So the Renaissance men are coming to town. Just then, though, a rival business opens up across the street. The Frowning Friends, with their two workers, Grim and Gnarly. Charlie and Pim try to combat the evil those two are doing, which, if you couldn't guess, their job is to make people unhappy and sad. They run into this awesome SoundCloud artist who shows off his music. They give him some kind words of encouragement, but he says the two of them already came by and talked smack, obviously confusing them with the Frowning Friends.
Man, I don't know what to think no more, man. Okay. Get out of me head, no.
They even got to 3D Squelden. Come on, man, not this innocent soul.
Did you know that all of Earth's helium is running out and will be completely depleted within 15 to 20 years?
That is true. I genuinely don't know when this show is goofing around, so naturally you'd Google it. And yeah, it's actually pretty low, which could genuinely have an effect in the medical field. Mr. Boss is going insane with the success of Frowning Friends and how it'll affect his business, where he feels like there's only one thing to do. The Frowning Friends have grown an army of angry and miserable people who will do their bidding. Grim goes on a rant about how life is pointless and means nothing.
No, please don't kill me, please, no, I don't want to die, please don't kill me, please don't.
Wow.
Kinda cringe.
Mr. Boss then comforts Grim, where he cracks a smile, learning the joys of being happy and appreciating life, where from here on out, maybe the two can do some good in
Fire!
And the season finale at the time is Charlie dies and doesn't come back. It's Christmas! Charlie, however, isn't in the Christmas spirit, and this upsets Pim, trying to not have Charlie be so negative all the time. The gang have to go out to cut down a Christmas tree, but the two are still arguing. In a petty move, Charlie offers to cut down the tree to show how much fun he's having and how much he loves Christmas. He dies and goes to HE double hockey sticks. There's a creature that'll follow him around and do this all day.
Dude, if you do that again, I'm gonna punch you. I'm not kidding.
It turns out, though, hell has kind of gone downhill. Satan is depressed, I guess, and hasn't been doing his job. So Charlie thinks that if he makes him smile, Satan will return him back to the land of the living. We see that Charlie's grandma's here. What's up with that?
Oh, I cursed and said, damn, in 1958 when I saw your grandfather being shot in the head by that rotten burglar.
Anyway, Charlie heads to Satan's crib where he can hopefully...
Dude, I warned you. I said I was gonna do that if you did that again.
Charlie makes it to Satan's room, and it turns out he's just a lazy gamer. Aw man, look at that. The true sign of a dork. Charlie recommends maybe cleaning up his room, not ordering Uber Eats, and stop vaping. This triggers Satan into a fit of rage where he starts torturing Charlie, mentioning how happy this makes him. Charlie points out, though, that he was able to make Satan happy. However, he of course doesn't agree to let Charlie go. Just then, though, a powerful light breaks through.
Quickly, Charlie, get on!
God saves Charlie. Voiced by Gilbert Gottfried in one of his last roles before sadly passing on. Gilbert Gottfried reveals that this was all a test for Charlie, and he passed.
Merry Christmas!
Granting him another chance at life.
The end.
Hell is actually real. Merry Christmas, everyone.
Now, as I mentioned before, this is where the original airing of Season 1 came to an end. What's funny to me is that they aired the first episode of Smiling Friends on January 10th, 2022, at like midnight or whatever. And after that episode, Adult Swim just aired the entire season that night, marathoning episode after episode. Apparently it was like supposed to have a weekly release, but they just said screw it and aired the entire season that night. That's so Adult Swim. It's like 2 a.m. on a Sunday. They really just hope you'd stay up and watch it. Now, before I dive too deep into my thoughts on Season 1, there is another episode that falls into the season. A special episode that aired 7 months later on August 6th. The Smiling Friends go to Brazil. As the name implies, the Smiling Friends, minus Mr. Boss, are on a vacation in Brazil. They land at the airport and are all having fun banter, like to be expected, talking about all the fun things they're gonna do. They ask Pim to check where the hotel's at since he booked it, but he says he wasn't in charge of that. Now there's confusion amongst the gang.
I really thought Alan was booking the hotel, and I was booking the flight. Because I remember...
They decide to pull over to the side and call the hotel just to make sure. Pim calls them and they inform him there's no reservation.
They're all booked to capacity. Yeah, okay.
They then decide to... Alright, I'm not gonna go through this entire episode step by step. It took me a few minutes to realize... Huh. This is going to be the entire episode, isn't it?
There's a chance we can even go for like more of an expensive range hotel, because I'm guaranteed those ones wouldn't have been.
After the resounding success of Season 1, they announced a special event episode months later. And what do we get for waiting?
You are a tourist? Are you a tourist? Do you have any cash? Cash.
I'm not giving you the answer.
No, we don't.
Sir.
Sorry, we don't have any cash.
Dude, when he fucking moved his arm, I thought he was gonna hit me.
We get literally the best thing to ever happen in a cartoon. For 15 minutes, we get non-stop bickering and arguing with each other. It feels so real and raw, because this is really what would happen if you were in the situation. They start pointing fingers, calling up other hotels for availability. They even call the boss to see if he knows anyone they can stay with. If you ever had a moment where you were just fed up with your friends but trying to keep your cool, this might hit a little too close to home.
Greta, I'm saying I do not remember that I had to book the hotel.
Why do you keep bringing that up?
Now is I'm trying to figure out a solution.
That's irrelevant.
And it seems like you guys...
The episode ends with them realizing it would just be cheaper to rebook a flight back home. So they do. Finn. It's so easy to see why Season 1 of Smiling Friends was an instant hit. The comedy was top-notch, with the project being led by two actually funny guys who, quote-unquote, get the younger generation. There were times where the show definitely felt like a Newgrounds cartoon making its way onto TV. The art direction is also super strong, utilizing different styles like the rotoscope guy, claymation, and 3D modeling. It really does make the world feel like a fever dream where anything can happen, and Season 2 would double down on the unique visuals. But I think what makes the show so great and beloved are easily the characters. Charlie and Pim are the perfect duo. One has their undying optimism and positivity, while the other is more nonchalant and pessimistic. But what's great is that none of them are so extreme that they become annoying. You never get sick of Pim's high energy and, oh yes, I love it so much, life is so great personality, and same with Charlie. He's not so negative that he reaches levels of an edgy teenager, he's just more grounded in the situation, looking at things head on and taking them for what they are. Zach does a great job at voicing him. Almost every word that comes out of Charlie's mouth is the funniest thing ever, whether intentional or not.
Yeah, I would say most of our ideas come from the beach, like the location of the beach. Whenever we go, I think the vitamin D plus like the jellyfish and like the just the damn vibe, if I can even say that. But like,
Alan and Glep really haven't had much to do so far. Alan's main thing is that he says words funny. Glep is a funny little guy. I guarantee in 5 years the fans will create a Glep language where they can actually communicate with it. Mr. Boss is also the right type of psychopath. He's genuinely insane, but lovable. He's an interesting guy. This man is the one who runs a charity to make people smile. Maybe we'll learn about his lore down the road. I also like Smormu. He was kind of the glue that held Season 1 together. What I really love is that you can look up an Oni Plays compilation on YouTube where you can see Zach possibly workshopping Smiling Friends ideas on the Let's Play, seeing how his friends would react, and then using it in the show. Here's a few examples.
Did I ever tell you my idea for the cartoon about the mom bringing home the food for the kids for the birthday party?
No.
Throws it on the table and they all start ripping it apart like it's a pizza. And it's going, ah! And they're like, oh, I want to make it. And they start pulling the fingers off and like taking bites out of it, like pull its eye off.
I would laugh at it, but I don't think 90% of people would.
My little fishy food.
My iconic fish, they're not there. You must have.
My iconic fish.
Oh, Salty is actually taking his iconic 7 p.m. nap.
You knock out this thing. He opens it up.
Is it a green cumulon?
It's not a green cumulon, but it is a green alien.
Okay.
And he says, he goes, Dad, 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 Dad. And he puts his hand in your face.
He just keeps throwing his fingers at me.
Dad, Dad, Dad. But would you like punch him, or would you?
I'd punch him.
Would you really punch an alien?
Him and Michael Cusack are genuinely just funny. Look up any interview they're in, and it's never gonna be boring. Maybe awkward at times, but that's just who they are.
I've always wanted to get a little bit close to you.
What do you want to do?
And fans would have to wait 2 whole years for season 2 of the show. Did it meet expectations? Let's find out. Gwimbly Definitive Remastered Enhanced Extended Edition with DX 4K Anniversary Director's Cut. Jesus. We see Alan spraying someone with dirty brown water. However, Pim recognizes this fella as Gwimbly, an old video game character from his childhood. I love Gwimbly. I have never seen a low-poly PS1 render in a cartoon, and so perfectly capturing every aspect of it. Everything down from the fuzzy outline and details, all the way to his bit-crushed voice.
Well, I don't do my iconic victory dance for nothing. Okay, I guess just this once I can do it for nothing. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Gwimbly's a bit down on his luck since the company that owns his likeness hasn't been making any games with him.
Hey, James from Idaho.
Hey, I knew a James from Idaho. Gone too soon. Pim wants to help Gwimbly, but Charlie doesn't want to, saying it's not an official request and staying behind. They head to the game studio and no way, we actually get to see some old Gwimbly gameplay. That's amazing. This would have made for a great AVGN episode. They head to the CEO's office, who's a fat, annoying weirdo who loves his chicken nuggies. Pim asks him if he could make a new Gwimbly game to help him out, but he says no.
Oh, I swear to God, if I had my Gwimbly gun on me right now!
Introducing the new face of the company. Some generic team shooter guy. Meanwhile, Charlie's having an adventure of his own. This random sociopath walks into Smiling Friends and starts bullying Charlie, humiliating and forcing him to do things, since it's the company's motto to do anything to make people smile.
Please, I want you to genuinely smile. Please, just smile.
Meanwhile, Pim and Gwimbly decide to make their own video game without the company. They try to recruit all the old characters. Count Gruxio was the old villain. However, he's too busy now with a family and rejects them. Well, how about the iconic Mr. Millipede?
I am so sorry, Gwimbly.
And I'm gonna say what nobody else is willing to say. America has a fucking fentanyl crisis.
The CEO gets wind of this plan and hunts down Pim and Gwimbly. They run back to Smiling Friends HQ where Charlie is still being harassed by the stranger, where the strange man then stabs the CEO in the face, and he smiles. So technically the job is done and he leaves. And with these two video game characters no longer having a game of their own, do what all unused video game IPs do. Well, all's well that ends well. Mr. President, the election is coming up and the gang are all discussing politics. Everyone apart from Charlie.
I don't vote.
Just then, Mr. Boss comes in saying that the gang have received a job.
Guess who just got a call to make the president smile?
The president is President GMBL, who's... man, he's a very interesting guy.
Are you two here to bring me my napkins?
No.
Okay, let me just put in some napkins.
I have no proof of this, but I feel like this role was written for Chris Chan at one point, but after some parental problems, they couldn't do that. So they got Mr. Mike Buschetti to be the replacement, who, to be fair, is equally just as strange.
By the way, sorry about those loud noises. That was just from my diaper. I don't want to have another accident from a bad lamp.
As you might guess, President GMBL is incredibly incompetent at his job, making the worst decisions a president could make. He wants the Smiling Friends to help him show the world that he's not an idiot. His opponent is Mr. Frog of all people, who's winning in the polls. Charlie eventually gives up on helping since GMBL is kind of a lost cause. He wanders into this Illuminati meeting where these worms are planning to choose Mr. Frog as the next president. Charlie's all for that since he loves Mr. Frog.
Like a huge fan. I love when he eats the bug on the show.
He does what?
And just like that, the Illuminati have chosen President GMBL as their new favorite. During the debates, GMBL of course fumbles the ball, but with the power of the Illuminati behind him, they're trying to push him as the favorite.
And everyone that trolled me, f*** you! F*** off! Jag off!
The episode ends with Mr. Frog becoming president, all thanks to one voter who swung the decision.
We're putting his name, face, address, and social security number on screen for our millions of viewers now.
However, former President GMBL now does get to spend a lot of time on the beach. So, I guess he's happy now. A Alan adventure. Alright, we get an Alan episode. Alan's about to leave for work, but gets stopped by his landlord, who offers him the best proposition I've ever heard.
I was just wondering if you wanted to hang out with me and smoke weed and fill our bellies with diet soda and play Burnout Revenge for the PS2.
He turns him down since he has work. At Smiling Friends HQ, Pim and Charlie are off to do a job that we don't get to see. But Mr. Boss has a very important job for Alan. To go get some paper clips. Sounds easy enough. He heads to office crap and kind of acts like a dick to the worker.
You work here? I'm just a customer. You're gonna just start bugging me with stupid questions? I'm not bugging you. I'm just asking what do you need?
Long story short, there's no more paper clips. He then heads to a gizmo store where apparently the last box of paper clips resides. However, the old man Tinkerer won't give it up, saying these paper clips are special because no other tool has this specific shape that can tinker with his devices.
Why don't you just use your long nose?
No, this can't be. I must be dreaming.
With this stunning revelation, he gives Alan the paper clips. What follows is indeed an insane Alan adventure. The paper clips get stolen, there's a helicopter chase, a struggle with Bigfoot and skeleton pirates, all leading to a note that tells Alan to go back to his apartment to find the paper clips. So why has this been happening? Who's the mastermind behind this entire operation? Alan's landlord. He orchestrated this whole thing, spending months and hundreds of thousands of dollars on this plan, all leading up to this moment, so he can ask Alan.
I was just wondering if you wanted to hang out with me and smoke weed and fill our bellies with diet soda and play Burnout Revenge for the PS2.
He of course says no, but has a bomb strapped to his chest, so he begrudgingly agrees. He remembers the words of the Tinkerer and uses the silly-shaped paper clips to defuse the bomb. Returning back to Smiling Friends HQ with a box of paper clips and a job well done.
That's a little version of me, Alan.
I don't really want this.
The boss finds love. So the gang are at Mr. Boss's wedding, where Charlie's super drunk. I'll leave it to all you game theorists out there to figure out why. We see the boss's wife, Brittany.
Oh my god!
She's a horrifying claymation demon, but seems nice.
I can't wait to get to know everybody and help the boss get a little more organized.
She immediately starts ruining Smiling Friends with its awful decorations and stupid jobs, like making Glep do her gardening. However, Mr. Boss seems to be in some kind of trance, obviously being possessed by Brittany. Later that night, Pim, Charlie, and Alan head to Charlie's place to do some research. All while this gosh darn mannequin from that I Feel Fantastic video is just lingering in the background. The boys then do what every sane person does when they want to learn something. They go to YouTube.
Hello, I'm Daniel the Demon Slayer. I slay demons so you don't have to.
Oh, hell yeah! So they learn from Daniel the Demon Slayer that they need to chop off Brittany's head during a full moon, which coincidentally happens to be tonight. During this plan, Brittany wakes up and is so offended at Charlie and Pim's possession accusations, which are true by the way, but she just found it so rude with how they accused her. She gets so shaken up that she jumps out of the window and dies. And the episode has a happy ending, I guess.
I know 4 employees that I just adore.
This was a very strange Halloween.
Happy Halloween, everybody!
Brother's egg. The boys get contacted for a job.
You two now have the privilege of helping Jared Fogle, the subway guy.
Nah, he's playing. They do have to help a mad scientist though, Daniel. He's trying to make a homunculus by splicing his DNA with an egg. However, during his evil laughter and scheming, his brother Doug barges in, who's another rotoscope man.
You're being incredibly loud.
You just like my volume? Or,
Yeah, volume. That's what
did-
loud means, doesn't it?
Yeah, you know this is what I care about.
This is what you care about! Care about something better!
The two get into a heated argument that ends with Doug kicking Daniel out of the house. So now Charlie and Pim need to reconcile the brothers' obviously broken relationship. It's surprisingly pretty serious stuff.
Just that things really haven't been the same since the funeral.
Funeral?
Yeah. Mother's funeral.
Pim has a talk with Doug where it turns out their mother died recently and Daniel hasn't been coping well. He spent her inheritance on that evil science lab, and that's been another major stressor on their relationship. They managed for the two to sit down and talk things out.
Yeah? Well, maybe if you weren't high 24/7, you could have been there for Mother when she died.
What is happening? The brothers get into a fight, but just then, a homunculus hatches from the egg and sees the two as its father, where Doug and Daniel instantly make up, seeing the beauty of childbirth, and put their differences aside to raise this homunculus.
Pim, the world we live in stresses me out, dude. Just like never-ending, constant chaos. No, it never lets up. I hate it.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Charlie, Pim, and Bill versus the alien. Pim invites Charlie to hang out with some of his friends, who are UFO watchers. There's Bill, Fillmore, and Oni NG. Charlie doesn't like hanging out since they're all weird and boring conspiracy theorists. Just then, though, a UFO shows up and abducts them. They wake up on a spaceship that's throwing a party. However, since they're not supposed to be there, they lie saying they're friends with an alien. So we spend a lot of time with Charlie and Pim giving into peer pressure so the aliens don't find them out. Or worse, accuse them of being lame. They even go as far as blowing up the oldest planet full of life. Turns out, though, it was empty.
Nobody was on that planet.
Oh, you know what? You know you guys are losers, right? Oh yeah, you party and pull pranks. You guys aren't cool. You're childish.
During this argument, though, a bigger UFO starts abducting the ship. Charlie and Pim manage to escape, though, and fly away in a smaller UFO, where they can head back to Earth and return to normal life.
Wait, what? What am I looking at? What is that? Dude, that's completely flat. That's 100% flat,
I know, that's
dude.
what I mean. That's what I'm saying. That can't be real, right? That's not...
The magical red jewel, aka Tyler gets fired. The episode starts off with some pretty heavy information. One of the smiling friends needs to be let go.
Tyler, you're fired.
Huh?
What? You fired Tyler. You fired me too.
Meanwhile, Mr. Boss needs to go to a place called Spamtopia to pick up a magical red jewel. He takes Pim along since he can speak a bit of Spanish, leaving Charlie and Alan in charge of watching over Jason. Yeah, Mr. Boss's iconic 18-year-old son. This is where we get a bit of character development, because all Charlie and Alan do is bicker.
I don't know if you remember this or not, but the last time we hung out, like you and I, you actually sucked on my nose, so.
What?
Yeah, it starts off when Charlie mentions a little nose nibble that Alan did at the end of episode 1, season 1. During this bickering, though, Jason dies, and the boys gotta figure out what to do. Meanwhile, Pim and the boss make it to Spamtopia, which is literally just an insane ADHD nightmare. Bright colors, weird creatures, and
What kind of loggers do you have?
horror. They get the jewel, but Pim looks someone in the eye, which is illegal. Now they're both going to be beheaded. Pim starts praying in Spanish, and the ruler recognizes it, saying he's only ever taught it to one person. It turns out Pim and the leader are old pen pals. They hash things out, but still manage to cause chaos amongst the people. When they return back to Smiling Friends HQ, Charlie and Alan deliver the news that Jason is dead. However, Mr. Boss busts out the jewel and uses it to revive his 18-year-old son. What a happy little adventure! Jason sprouts his wings and becomes a butterfly. And the final episode of Season 2 is Pim Finally Turns Green. The gang are outside building a snowman, with Charlie and Alan still arguing.
He's ugly.
Yeah, that's why it's funny. That's the joke.
It's just stupid idiot humor.
Anyway, they make a horrible, ugly snowman, and when Pim puts a flower on its head, it comes to life.
Oh my god.
What's going on? What is this?
Oh, hell yeah! Dana Snyder cameos as Rotten the Snowman. It's a pretty simple episode, honestly. Pim shows Rotten the joys of being alive, only to mention he'll eventually die one day when Rotten mentions he wants to go to the beach. And this causes Rotten to have an existential crisis. They take him to a snowy mountain where he can live forever, but ends up screaming all night.
Yo, do you know this guy? This guy's been going nuts. He freaked out my kids. My wife is in hysterics. She doesn't know what the hell is going on.
So they decide to just put Rotten in the freezer where he can live forever. However, as time passes, he naturally feels a bit depressed, technically being alive, but not living. It's now the 4th of July, and they decide to take Rotten onto the beach in a cooler. Someone knocks him over and he melts, but he trickles into the ocean, where he can now live forever as a part of the sea. I guess. You know what? Great. This is actually a happy ending. Any last words, Charlie?
Wow, I love my friends, and I love my God, and I love my country, and God bless America, I guess. What else can you say?
And with that, marks the end of Smiling Friends Season 2. Also, really quick, the name of this episode is Pim Finally Turns Green. Why? The official episode synopsis also says, after eating a mysterious artifact found at an ancient burial ground, Pim mysteriously turns bright green, concerning his friends and rivals. At first, everyone is horrified, but eventually they learn to accept and love the new Green Pim in the Season 2 finale. Which, obviously, none of that ever happened. Apparently, this is a reference to the early development stages of Smiling Friends, where Pim was originally supposed to be green. Zach Hadel stated on the Blu-ray commentary for Desmonds Big Day Out that he still hopes to one day make Pim green.
Can we talk about how Pim was green for the first? What would you say? Like,
can we say that? We can say that, right?
We can say that. Yeah, Pim was green for probably.
I think it was like it was a good decent chunk.
It was most of it.
A good decent chunk of at least this pilot. I don't know if it might have even bled into the season.
I think it did. We changed it though.
It was some. I don't know. We both had a talk one day where we're just like.
We had to sit there because we said we.
I fought for it. I loved it.
You did. Well,
and I still want it actually.
And I saw the point, but the big reason was, you know, Charlie's yellow, Pim being green. It just they look like puke. That was the big.
Yeah.
It looks like puking friends. It's like it makes you feel sick looking at them. So.
Yeah. That was what I liked about it, but now Pim is pink and the rest is history, really.
Yep. Although he is wearing a green sweater, so I guess that counts. The best word to describe Season 2 is fun. The team clearly wanted to make the episodes more of a spectacle. Personally, I feel like Season 1 had better episodes and the writing was stronger, but Season 2 seemed to have a focus on the creativity and fun world of Smiling Friends. Every episode had some kind of crazy, unique art style blended into it. It reminds me a lot of the amazing world of Gumball. But here, it feels a bit more unique and stands out. Gwimbly's PS1 model legit feels like a PS1 character, not a 2D hand-drawn rendition of one, if that makes sense.
Gwimbly!
There were a lot more uses of 3D models and claymation. In Season 1, you'd maybe have a character like that was on screen for less than a minute, but here they were more dynamic and given a lot to do. One of the episodes starts off with the gang watching a documentary, and it's like the biggest thing you'd never want your parents walking in on you watching. I also like the human cameos. As mentioned before, Mike Machete being the president is wonderful. He's perfectly Adult Swim, if that makes sense. Also, having Doug Walker as Daniel the Demon Slayer and doing his Nostalgia Critic bit is so charming. Legit, this is what I'm talking about. It takes internet nerds like Zach and Michael to have a bit like this. It's so specific and will only resonate with a handful of people. Also, Spamtopia really just felt like an excuse to create the most heinous and off-the-walls world ever. I think everyone working on Smiling Friends knew that Season 2 would be a hit with fans no matter what, so they wanted to focus on the more unhinged ideas that normally wouldn't get accepted. And hey, it paid off. In terms of character development, the only thing we really got was Charlie and Alan. They legit argued in like every other episode, it seemed.
Dude, you were the one that was on the phone the whole time, and you were not paying attention at any point.
Fuck you, I was checking work emails. I'd rather be back with Dr. Monster.
Alan, I still don't know what that means, dude. I don't know what that means.
Well, I'm never telling you.
I don't know what this means for the Smiling Friends community, but I guess we'll see. As of recording, Smiling Friends has been renewed for a Season 3, where I think it's safe to say we're all pretty excited for it. Michael Cusack and Zach Hadel seem to have their heads on straight about the show. In an interview, Zach stated that Smiling Friends is McDonald's of TV. Continuing the quote, saying, "A lot of comedy shows, like you say, tend to get serious. I don't think Charlie and Pim could cry and anybody would care. It would just be annoying. So it would probably end before it gets to that point. This show is hopefully kind of an escape. We always think about when we worked minimum wage jobs. We would get home and just want to watch YouTube cartoons and South Park. There's something nice about being a little comedy thing, and that's it." Michael Cusack would agree, saying, "I just think we like keeping a continuous tone with Smiling Friends, where you could tune in any season. You don't really know where you are." And as a viewer, that's great to hear. Sticking to the formula that made fans fall in love with your show in the first place, not just changing things up for the sake of it. They're both obviously very passionate about the show and understand what's best for it. It's in good hands. And they're right. If I were to stop watching Smiling Friends today, and 5 years from now, if they're still making episodes, if I could just jump into the newest episode and not need to learn about a whole new lore or anything, I would easily have that love be reignited, because they've stayed true to themselves for all those years. That's an incredible thought. So yeah, that was Smiling Friends. A++. Let me know your favorite episode down below, and also let me know who needs to come back, Tyler or Smormu. Thanks for watching. Taco Bell, if you're listening, you need to bring back that shredded chicken burrito, okay? I'll be honest, I downloaded this game as like a bit. It was on the game store. It looked stupid, but this low-key, this kind of addicting. This is actually not a bad game. Like, it controls fine enough for a platformer. It's not super frustrating. It's got a relaxing vibe. I see why Shrimp played this all day. I honestly, you don't need a girlfriend. If you have Mouse Quest 2, you really don't need much else. I could play this all day. I think I actually might. Oh no. It's frustrating, it's hard, right? It's not the best controlled game, but the best looking game, but it doesn't have to be. It's actually just so simple that it's genius. Like, this is proof that simplicity it's the best way to make a game. I don't need more than this, really. Why am I playing Mouse Quest? You know what, give this game a download. I think you might like it. Alright. Bye.